When everyone's asleep, you sneak out of your cabin. The full moon makes everything shine silver blue, but the forest looks dark and scary. You're not sure you want to enter it, arrow or no arrow. To give yourself courage, you get your bow and some arrows from the sports shed. Then you begin your search. Before long, you come to a clearing circled with flowers. A birch tree gleams in the moonlight on the far side, and it suddenly occurs to you that you'll never know if you're really good at archery unless you shoot at something besides straw-backed targets. Something more difficult like that birch. You fit an arrow to your bow and take careful aim. Just as you shoot, a cloud passes in front of the moon. Everything goes dark, but you hear a thunk, and when you can see again, you see your arrow quivering in the tree. Fantastic! You're about to see if you can do it again when you hear a hissing sound. Shing! Another arrow has split yours down the middle. You whirl around, but no one's there. You seem to be alone in the moonlit clearing, but someone must have shot that arrow, and whoever he is, he's a better marksman than you, and his next arrow might just be pointed straight at your heart. If you take a chance and run for cover, turn to page 5. If you put down your bow and arrows to show you mean no harm, turn to page 10. You put down your weapons and stand there, defenseless in the moonlight. It's the hardest thing you've ever done. Nothing happens. The forest is silent, but you're sure you're not alone. The weird emptiness makes you think of the astronauts on the moon. I come in peace for all mankind, you say. Your throat is so dry it comes out in a croak. But there's a rustling in the trees, and a form detaches itself from the dappled shadows. It is a man carrying a bow as tall as he is. Now, by my faith, that was well said, he remarks. Peace for all mankind. A noble thought, but not very likely when our good King Richard is off fighting the Crusades, and fair England is bled dry by fat bishops and wicked princes. Come, friend, I see your tongue is as skilled as your hand. What business have you with Robin Hood? Robin Hood? You can't believe it. But Robin Hood was an English outlaw in the Middle Ages, you say. He died hundreds of years ago. The tall man laughs as though you made a really good joke. Did I indeed, young friend? I wish you could tell that to the Sheriff of Nottingham. Maybe then he and his knights would stop chasing me and leave sweet Sherwood Forest in peace. The wicked sheriff! Indeed, he is a wicked man, says Robin Hood. I see you are no friend to him, and thus are friend to me. Now, will you join my band of outlaws, or may I escort you to the other side of Sherwood Forest? The man seems real enough. Somehow, somewhere, you've been transported to the past. If you decide to join Robin Hood's band, turn to page 12. If you'd like to try your fortune in some other part of merry old England, turn to page 43. Let's join his band. Please, sir, you say, I'd like to join your band and live in Sherwood Forest. Robin smiles. Good. Then pick up your bow and place your right hand upon it. Now, do you swear to steal only from the rich, to give to the poor, and never betray a fellow outlaw, by the strength of your right hand and your hope of heaven? You feel a chill run up your back at the solemn words. I do, you say proudly. It is well. He claps you on the shoulder in a comradely fashion. Then follow me to our secret camp, where you can meet the others. Robin Hood moves swiftly through the forest. His feet never make a sound, although every step you make sounds like an elephant crunching a ton of peanut shells. At the outlaw camp, you're made welcome. Little John is there, along with many of the band. You meet Friar Tuck, Alan Adale, and a cheerful red-haired man called Will Scarlet. There's a big fire with a whole deer roasting over it. Someone cuts you a slice. It's delicious. You have to eat it with your fingers, but no one seems to mind when the juice runs down your chin. Across the fire from you is an old man. His hair and beard are long and white, and his features are in shadows. But his eyes glimmer like stars. Who's that? You ask Will Scarlet, pointing to an old man. Where? That's Little John. No, the guy in front of him. Will gives you a funny look. There's no one there, he says. Now come. Robin's making plans for tomorrow's raids. You don't want to be left out, do you? He hurries off. You look back across the fire. The old man is still there, smiling strangely at you. If you go after Will, turn to page 22. If you decide to investigate the mysterious old man first, turn to page 99. Let's check out that old guy. You can see the old man across the fire perfectly clearly. He's still smiling at you, so you go over to talk to him. Greetings, my child, he says. I see you have found the way here. You must be brave now, and strong and cunning. Do not forget your oath to Robin Hood. But if your courage should fail you, call upon the words of power to return you to your native land. What words of power? You say, I don't know any magic. They are words of your own making. Bitter words of unhappiness. Use them only as a last resort. You still don't know what he means, but before you can ask, a spark jumps out of the fire and lands in the dry grass near your feet. You hurry to step on it, and when you look up, the old man is gone. Turn to page 22. After a moment's hesitation, you hurry after Will Scarlet and the other outlaws. Oh, says Will, there you are. We thought you'd been carried off by old Nilrem. Who's that? You ask. He's a mysterious character who's supposed to haunt Sherwood, giving people strange advice. Some say he's a wizard, some say he's one of the fair folk. I say he's a product of one too many mugs of ale. You start to say something about the old man, but Robin Hood is beginning to speak, and you turn to listen. My merry men, I have word that the royal tax collector will be passing through Sherwood tomorrow noon, laden with bags of gold. He will be guarded by an escort of soldiers, but with our knowledge of the wood, we can set a trap for them. I cannot promise there will be no danger, but Little John is in command of the raid, and he needs volunteers. I, myself, will go to Brampton, as usual, to bring the poor there the gold I have promised them. Oh, no, you won't, says a voice. The band of outlaws gasps, and Robin shakes his fist. Who dares to contradict Robin Hood? He demands. Turn to page 35. I dare, says Friar Tuck, pushing forward. I hear there have been spies in Brampton, strangers asking about Robin Hood. It might be the sheriff's men have set a trap for you. And I say, send someone else, or if you must go, at least take one of our band with you to be lookout. Let it be one of the new recruits, someone who won't be recognized as one of us. You strike a hard bargain, but so be it, Tuck. Robin flings up his arm heroically. Now, who's for Little John and the tax collector's gold? And who's for me and the poor of Brampton? And who wants to stay by the fire all day and get fat? That sounds like the best option. All around you, men are stepping forward, offering to go with Little John. You're about to join them when Will Scarlet nudges you. Here's your chance. He says, your face is not yet known in Brampton. You could go with Robin Hood. If you go with Little John, turn to page 11. If you volunteer to go with Robin Hood, turn to page 72. If you stay by the fire all day and get fat, turn to page... I'm just kidding, that's not an option. Okay, we'll go with Little John. Turn to page 11. You join the men who will help Little John relieve the tax collector of the people's gold. Because things may get rough, and you've never been in a battle before, John posts you up in a tree at the edge of the forest. When you see the tax collector entering Sherwood, you're supposed to blow a bird call whistle to warn the outlaws, who are hidden deeper in the forest among the thick trees. Soon you see a trail of dust on the Nottingham road. It turns out to be a troop of armed guards. A man in fine clothes rides in their midst, his saddlebags bulging. It's the tax collector. He stops his horse right under your tree. You hold your breath, thinking hard. Obviously, you can't give the signal while he's right there. But maybe you could do something even better. Jump down on top of him, push him off the horse, and ride away with all the gold yourself. I mean, hey, it worked out fine on TV. Didn't look hard. On the other hand, you're new to this outlaw business. Maybe you should just stick to the original plan and blow the whistle once the tax collector enters the forest. If you try to get the gold single-handedly, turn to page 28. If you choose to stick to Little John's plan, turn to page 74. Let's get that gold! Holding your breath, you drop from the tree and land on the tax collector's back. Give me the gold, you growl, or I'll... Of course, you don't have a knife, but you jab your whistle into the man's side and hope it's convincing. He screams, take the gold, take it, spare my life! Aha, you think this isn't so hard after all. Or you'll what, says the captain of the guard, picking you up by the scruff of your shirt. Play Greensleeves off key? He's called your bluff, and now you have to think fast. If you blow your whistle extra loud, Little John might realize something's wrong and come to your rescue. But if you do, you'll alert the tax collectors of the trap and the outlaws' chance of a surprise attack. If you risk facing your captors alone, turn to page 23. If you signal for help, turn to page 80. Let's handle this ourselves. You got yourself into this mess, and you're determined to get yourself out of it. You throw your whistle deep into the underbrush, so your captors can't use it to give your outlaw friends a false signal. The captain of the guards ties you up and slings you across the saddle face down. Horsehair gets in your nose, and something in the saddle's jabbing into your stomach. I'll take the little thief back to Nottingham for trial, says the captain. No, the tax collector says. I need all my guards to get through the forest safely. Thieves are always hanged anyway. Let's do it now and save time. Gulp. Then all of a sudden you realize what's jabbing you in the stomach. It's not the saddle at all, it's your pocket camera. And this piece of 20th century magic might just be this thing that can save you. Stop, you cry. Lay one filthy finger on me and you won't live long enough to regret it. I am the keeper of powerful magic. I am a dangerous witch. That's different, says the tax collector. Witches are burned alive. We don't have time for that. I guess we'll have to send you back to Nottingham for trial after all. Turn to page 31. The captain of the guard carries you back to Nottingham. He's so afraid of your magical powers that he never even unties your hands. You wonder if Little John and the outlaws were able to surprise the tax collector. But at the moment, you're more concerned about the nasty surprises that might await you. In Nottingham, you're thrown into a dungeon. Things do not look good. It seems as if you'll either be hanged as a thief or burned as a witch. You waste away in jail for weeks. Finally, the sheriff sends for you. He is a fat man with little narrow eyes. His purple velvet clothes are spattered with grease stains. So, you claim you're a witch, he says. Can you prove it? Why should I, you ask? You'll just burn me. Not necessarily. He smiles an oily smile. I could use a witch. Not even the king has one. But that all depends on just how powerful you really are. Is he telling you the truth? If you try to impress him with your powers, turn to page 114. If you tell him you're not really a witch, turn to page 95. Let's impress him with our magical powers, because it worked so well last time I tried that. My powers are so great, you say. I can call upon the sun at midnight. Ooh, that is great indeed, says the sheriff. But he sounds as if he doesn't believe you. I will return at that hour to witness this great magic. At midnight, he and his guards come to your cell. Show me the power of the sun, he demands. You take out your camera, switch it to flash, and take his picture. When the flash goes off, the sheriff cringes from the glare. His guards duck screaming, Help! Witchcraft! But the sheriff recovers quickly. Very good, he says. But not quite good enough. You can call upon light at midnight, but you couldn't even escape from this simple dungeons. Guards, burn this imp. You're dragged out of the courtyard and tied to a stake piled round with wood. Is there nothing that can save you? Even arts and crafts would be better than this. Suddenly, you remember that mysterious old man at Robin Hood's fire, the one Will Scarlet called Nilrem. Could he possibly help you? If you spoke to him that night, which we did, turn to page 52. The old man told you that there were words of power that would get you home, words of your own making. But what are they? Abracadabra, you yell the only magic words you know. Nothing. Please and thank you. Walt Disney. Kirk to Enterprise. Open Sesame Street. Still nothing. These are words of sorcery, the sheriff cries. Quick, light the fires. Guards are approaching with flaming torches. Oh, you cry. I wish I were back in Camp Yuchikui. Oh, yucky phooey! Suddenly, there's a blinding blaze of light, like 100 instamatic flashes all going off at once. When you can see again, you're lying on the grass of the archery field. The magic words must have been yucky phooey. A light is coming toward you, but it's only a flashlight. The counselors are all out looking for you. You're going to be in big trouble for sneaking out after dark. But hey, it's better than being burned at the stake. Maybe camp isn't so bad after all. And maybe that picture you took of the Sheriff of Nottingham will still come out. The end. Well, not the happiest ending, but a pretty interesting one. I wonder what would have happened if we had been honest with the sheriff about not actually being a witch. Let's try that. Sheriff, you say, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not really a witch at all. I only said I was because I knew those guards were too stupid to understand the truth. Not like you. Obviously, you are intelligent and sophisticated, a man of the world. Of course, you lied, but the sheriff seems to like your flattery. I'm really a powerful scientist, you continue. It's not the same thing at all, as you know. No, of course not, says the sheriff, not wishing to appear a fool. But can a scientist help me to get power beyond my wildest dreams? Well, yes and no. I can give you the power of knowledge, you say, embarrassed to find yourself talking just like one of your teachers. And that's more than anyone else around here seems to have. Give me an example, he demands. You show the sheriff how the flash on your camera works. When he asks for an explanation, you use every big word you know. He's impressed, and he gives you your own tower room for scientific research. Everything will be fine until the batteries of your camera run out. Then maybe you can explain to him something about static electricity. With 800 years of scientific knowledge behind you, all you have to do now is remember everything you learned in school. The end. All right. So that's how that plot line goes. Let's really quickly go back just to see what would have happened if we hadn't tried to steal the treasure all on our own, and if we had just stuck to Little John's plan. So back on page 74, gone back to the ambush part of the story. Silently, you wait in the tree for the tax collector's decision. Oh, very well, he says at last. The sooner we get through the woods, the sooner I'll sit down to a nice hot meal. But be on the lookout for outlaws. As the last guard passes under the shadow of your tree, you raise the whistle to your lips and blow a delicate bird call. You hear the answering signal repeated 3 times. Not long after, you hear shouting, but soon it's quiet, and John gives you the call for all is well. Back at the camp, you find that Little John has returned the guards to Nottingham, tied backward on their horses. He has invited the tax collectors to the noontime feast, since, as he puts it, "'Tis your own gold that pays for it." The terrified tax collector says he's not hungry. "Suit yourself," says John. "There's many a poor soul that's hungry enough because of the likes of you." Little John ties the man to a tree, and the rest of you sit down to enjoy an excellent meal. Not bad for your first morning's work as an outlaw of Sherwood Forest. The end. Okay, so that's the Little John storyline. Let's go back and see, let's check out that Robin Hood visits Brampton storyline. Okay, so we've gone to Brampton to help the poor. "Sir," you say to Robin Hood, "let me come with you. I'm the newest of the band, and I could watch for spies without being recognized." Robin accepts your offer, and while you both change into beggar's rags, he explains that it is the custom for beggars to sit on the church steps and hold out a bowl for people to drop coins into. You don't understand how this is going to help the poor, but Robin smiles and tells you that you'll see soon enough. After a long walk through the forest, you come to the town of Brampton. It isn't really what you'd call a town. It's just a dozen huts, a church, and a blacksmith shop. Robin sits down on the church steps and holds out his begging bowl. But it's full of coins. And instead of putting money into it as they pass by, the poor peasants take Robin coins out. All the while, Robin is calling out, "Alms for the poor! Help for a poor man down on his luck!" And you're watching to see if there's anything suspicious going on. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice a well-dressed man lurking at the side of the church. It seems as though he's trying to watch Robin without being seen. Is it the spy that Friar Tuck warned about? Maybe you'd better warn Robin so he can escape. Suddenly, the man slips away towards the forest. Maybe it'd be better for you to follow him. That way you'll know for certain what he's up to. If you decide to tell Robin Hood about the man, turn to page 46. If you'd rather follow the man, turn to page 81. Let's warn Robin. Well, pretending to put money in Robin's beggar's bowl, you lean over and whisper, "I saw someone watching you from the corner of the church. Then he slipped away. I think he might be up to something." Before Robin can answer, you hear a horn and the thunder of hooves. 5 men on horseback sweep into the town, their swords drawn and raised. "In the name of the Sheriff of Nottingham and of Prince John of England, we come to arrest the outlaw Robin Hood," one shouts. "Let no man hinder us on peril of his life." Robin has a sword under his rags, but he can't fight off 5 men without help. Across the square is the blacksmith shop, full of half-finished swords, horseshoes, and iron bars. You're sure to find a weapon in there, but can you reach the shop in time? "Quick," Robin whispers, "into the church and lock the door." If you follow Robin into the church, turn to page 55. If you run to the blacksmith shop to get a weapon, turn to page 98. Into the church. You and Robin lock the church door behind you and bar the shutters on the windows. The sheriff's men pound on the door, yelling threats, but Robin says you're safe. "They will not harm us here in the sanctuary of the church," he explains, "but I must think of what to do. We cannot stay here forever. If we are lucky, one of the Brampton folk will run to Sherwood to ask my men for help, but we cannot count on that." While Robin tries to work out a plan, you prowl around the church. Then you smell smoke. "The curs!" Robin cries. "They have set green wood alight around the church to smoke us out. In an hour there will be no air left to breathe. Alas, it is a sorry day for England when such fiends represent the king's justice." "It will be a sorry day for us if we don't get out of here," you say. "I found a tiny window at the back of the church. Maybe they aren't watching it. You can get through. You can't get through, but I can. I'll squeeze through and run to Sherwood for help." "No," says Robin, "it is too dangerous. They would shoot you on sight, and maybe help us on the way." If you stay with Robin Hood, turn to page 26. If you risk going through the window, turn to page 50. I'm going through the window. Robin Hood gives you his horn to summon help once you reach the forest. Then, very carefully, you squeeze yourself through the window and drop silently to the ground. No one sees you. The sheriff's men are all at the front of the church, waiting for Robin Hood to come out. You creep around the edge of the town, then run toward the corner of the woods. You run so hard there's a terrible stitch in your side by the time you reach Sherwood. With your last breath, you blow Robin's hunting horn. In a moment, the outlaws come running. When you tell them what's happened, they set off at once for Brampton to rescue their leader. Still panting from your desperate run, you lie down on the forest floor in the middle of a circle of sweet-smelling flowers. You only mean to rest for a moment, but soon you are asleep. Wait, a circle of flowers? Uh-oh. When you wake up, it is night and the full moon is shining brightly. You must have fallen asleep instead of looking for your arrow. What a strange dream you had, all about Robin Hood. You decide you better get back to camp, put your bow back in the sports shack, and sneak back into your cabin. But then you notice it's not your bow that's in your hand, it's an old hunting horn. Somehow you don't think there's much point in showing it to the camp directors, or explaining how you left valuable camp property back in Sherwood Forest. Besides, you're planning to go back and get the bow and arrows, just as soon as you can figure out how. The end. Okay. Well, that's a pretty cool ending. I really want to show you two special endings that happen if you go into the blacksmith shop to get a weapon. Okay, so back up a bit. While Robin Hood escapes into the church, you run to the blacksmith shop and grab an iron bar. Waving it, you yell at the top of your lungs, "People of Brampton, will you let the sheriff's men arrest your friend? How long must this tyranny continue? Attack them, I say, and long live Robin Hood! Long live Robin Hood!" The people cry, "Down with the sheriff and his men!" They grab bars, poles, rakes, even brooms, and attack the horsemen. You lead them, shouting all the best slogans you remember from history. "Give me liberty or give me death! Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes! Liberty, equality, fraternity! Open the gates and seize the day! Don't be afraid and don't delay!" It doesn't matter that these are all centuries ahead of their time. The people rally to your cause and chase the sheriff's men out of town. Robin Hood comes out of the church. "For one who came in peace for all mankind, you are a mighty warrior," he tells you. Then he warns the people of Brampton that the sheriff will soon send more soldiers to punish them for this rebellion. They must go into hiding. The people want you as their leader. Some of them want to go north into the hills of Scotland and found a new village there. Others want to hide in Sherwood Forest until the sheriff has forgotten his wrath. If you choose to lead the villagers into Scotland, turn to page 83. If you prefer to return to Sherwood Forest, turn to page 92. I'm going to show you both of these. But first, what happens if we go to Scotland? The way north to Scotland is long and hard, but with courage and determination, you lead the people of Brampton safely there. And in the wild hills, you find a land to call your own. The people have elected you as their leader. It is a great responsibility. As a person from the 20th century, you're shocked by the cruelty and injustice of this time. You can't do much about the lack of medicine or machines, but you can learn from the mistakes of history yet to come. Under your leadership, the people found New Brampton, a democratic cooperative where men and women have equal rights, everyone shares in the work, no one ever goes hungry, and children don't have to go to bed unless they're tired. Have you changed the course of history by establishing the first democracy in England? Or will your achievements simply disappear in the midst of time? The end. So that's a pretty interesting ending. They should totally write a sequel that's about New Brampton. I'd read that. Okay, but this other ending's pretty cool too. If you return to Sherwood Forest. You return to Sherwood Forest with Robin and the people of Brampton. Everything is fine for a while, but then, as winter draws on, there is hardship. The outlaws find it difficult to feed and shelter so many people, but the villagers are afraid to return to Brampton because the sheriff has promised to hang them all as conspirators. There isn't much to do in the evening but sit around the fire, singing songs and telling stories to cheer yourselves up. In your day, with television for entertainment, you didn't need to be very good at storytelling. So you don't have much to contribute, but you get tired of being left out, so one night you tell a few elephant jokes. To your surprise, everyone nearly dies laughing. It turns out that all your old jokes are new to these people, and they think knock-knock jokes are the funniest thing going. Suddenly, you have a solution to the problem. You and the people of Brampton can become entertainers. The sheriff will never find you, and you won't be dependent on Robin Hood and his men. Your plan is a great success. Your traveling troupe becomes popular throughout England, and you become well known for your humor and wit. You're not worried about running out of funny stuff either. After all, if they liked your elephant jokes, just wait until you introduce them to the custard pie in the face routine. And we get this great illustration to go with it. The end. So that's one of my favorite endings. And another case where if they wrote a sequel following that story, I would totally read it. So as you can see, this is probably one of my favorite Choose Your Own Adventure books. This particular copy I have is in very poor shape, but that's because I've read it so much. So, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.